We're looking at the worst furnace ever made. That furnace could say Bryant on it, could say Carrier, could say Payne. I take out 3 of those for every other furnace. There's 2 more of them right here. These are the last 4 furnaces I did this winter, and 3 of them are that furnace. We got a Bryant, Carrier. Again, they're the same exact thing. But this furnace had a class action lawsuit against it. What happens is the secondary heat exchanger burners fire into the primary. Secondary condenses the moisture out of the combustion process and drains it through this trap. Well, that secondary heat exchanger had some sort of a PVC coating on it that sloughs off. Most common service call with this furnace, that trap plugs up. Pull this big tube off, have a bucket handy. If you get a half a gallon of water out of there, a quart or whatever, you know this trap is plugged, or somewhere in between the exit of the trap, right there. Could go out that side, could go out that side, could be plugged between here and the drain, but somewhere it's plugged after this hose. If you get a flood of water out of here when you take this hose off, could be impeller. This inducer's seized up, so that's what's wrong with this one. If that's hard to turn, doesn't spin like that. This one spins. Sometimes you spin it and it won't spin. That means that the shaft is disconnected from the impeller inside there. What else? Could have plugged intake pipe. Exhaust pipe usually doesn't plug up. That's the one hooked to this motor. Intake pipe goes into this box. Sometimes you'll have a mouse nest sucked in. So if you take that tube out of there, you'd see a mouse nest here, or if the furnace runs there, the intake could be frozen outside if it's really cold out. This is just a good furnace to do this call on. Inside the door, you're going to find the LED code status thing. And if the inducer's bad or the trap's plugged and backed up with water, you're not going to close the pressure switch. It's going to be a 3-1 fault. Depending on which furnace you have, it's going to, it could be a fancier furnace with a different fault code, but it's going to be a pressure switch fault if you've got a plugged drain trap, which again is the most common service call. So you disconnect all these tubes right here. That one you need a little pliers, and then you pinch it right here. Once you get the main drain unhooked from down here, however it comes off, you pinch these in with something. This one had a leaky air conditioner. Nobody cleaned the drain line on it. That's why it's completely rusted out here and hard to pinch these in. But once you push those in like that, it'll tip down through the bottom. Got all these hoses disconnected. Just pinch that clamp right there. I don't know where it went. It must have went flying. Another clamp right there, and then just pull that one off. And then beyond that, typically they've got this tube that goes to the pressure switch hooked right here down low onto the collector box. Can't really see that, but it's connected right back behind this motor to the collector box. And then the other one that they got going up high on the other side here is typically going to the drain trap right here behind this motor assembly. So what you want to do is take this high one and swap it and make sure it's going to the pressure switch. That way if you ever get water backing up into, because this trap is plugged, water backs up in this lower one and gets into your pressure switch up here. So you want to swap those two. This low left one should be going here if you're in a horizontal configuration, and then the high right one back here you should put on the pressure switch. So that's going to save you from ruining a pressure switch if the trap plugs up and the water backs up in the secondary. What else? I think we've talked about most of it. You could have drain line laying on the floor, fresh air dropping into the furnace room, and when it's 20 below zero, it's going to freeze any standing water in that pipe. So you want to make sure you don't have cold, fresh air dropping outside air on your drain lines in the furnace room. Seen those frozen before. Again, any Carrier, Bryant, Payne, they're all the same furnace with that trap in it like that white trap. Here's that other, same deal. Pressure switch comes down, goes low. And then the one coming from the high right in the back, you want to take that one, bring it all the way across from there and put it on the pressure switch. And then put this one that's coming from right behind there onto here. And you won't be putting water into your pressure switch. Let's see. That's how it should spin. We know the impeller is hooked onto the shaft when it spins and keeps going like that. If it stops right away, your impeller inside here is broke off the shaft.